All right.
We roll it.
Keep rolling.
Hello, my name is Rachel Malina. I'm a doctor of physical therapy, and today we're going to be talking about tennis elbow. What we're going to do is we're going to go over some of the common reasons why people develop tennis elbow, sort of what's involved, kind of the structures involved. Then we're going to go through 5 exercises to help mitigate some of your symptoms and strengthen your game. So what tennis elbow is essentially an imbalance between the muscles of the forearm and them stressing the outside of the elbow. So essentially, when you're going through your backhand or a number of motions, we tend to have an excessive amount of wrist extension. So here's our tennis racket right here. And a lot of times, too much of this, you can see, kind of ends up creating quite a bit of stress along the forearm area. So I'm going to show Michael 3 different movements that he can go through to help take some of the pressure off of the tendons in this joint that tend to get stressed out. So the first thing I'm going to do is what you're going to find some tender areas along the outside of your forearm right here, and it might feel like a bump. These are called trigger points or tight muscles. And so what you're going to do is you're going to actually place your fingers along the forearm. There you go. Find a tender spot, and then you're going to take your wrist through a range of motion. And you're actually taking the muscle and you're gliding it underneath your fingers to help kind of move this muscle, kind of moving it back and forth, and it helps to actually release some of the discomfort. So if you're looking at a scale of 1 to 10 in discomfort, you might be at a 7 or 8, but take about 30 seconds to 2 minutes and just find different spots. You can kind of rotate the wrist like this, go back and forth like this, and just kind of taking it through some different motions to mitigate that discomfort. Do you find some spots?
Yes.
Okay. Beautiful. So 2 other areas where you can have trigger points or tight muscles that tend to restrict movement in the joints of the shoulder and elbow, which may lead to lateral elbow pain, are the front of the deltoid right here, or the pec, kind of in this region, and then the back of the shoulder blade, kind of middle back shoulder blade, upper shoulder. So I'm going to use this tennis ball, or you can use a lacrosse ball or any type of little foam ball. Oftentimes these are trigger point balls that come with some type of package, like a trigger point release package when you get a foam roller or something. So we're going to move these chairs out of the way. And what we're going to do right here is I'm going to show Michael kind of where to place this trigger point. And again, the same ideas with the forearm is you're going to find a spot that's really tender, and you're just going to place a little bit of pressure along it. And you can kind of take the arm and move it in a range of motion. There you go. Kind of going back and forth like this. There you go. And then sort of coming along the front of it. Beautiful. And then placing pressure along the anterior part of that deltoid, which is that kind of cuff on top of the muscle. Not the same thing as a rotator cuff, but Michael's going to find some spots. Stay there again, 30 seconds to 2 minutes to help mitigate some of that discomfort. Beautiful. Do you feel some spots, Mike?
Yeah, I feel a spot right here.
Okay, good. So what you're going to do now is you're going to turn around, and we're going to actually be focusing along this part of the muscle now. This is called the upper trap, and along the medial border of the scapula or the shoulder blade. Can find spots in the rhomboids or middle traps. But again, these muscles are going to help kind of tend to get a little bit tight. They restrict the motion of the shoulder, and it kind of ends up being a bit of a kinetic chain, kind of domino effect down the arm, which can kind of help to contribute to some of your forearm discomfort. So coming back against here, we're going to again place Michael along the back of the ball. Beautiful. He's going to find an area and put some pressure along it. There you go. And then he's going to take his arm and kind of cross his chest like this. Kind of opens up the shoulder blade and kind of reveals some of those trigger points. And again, find a trigger point and kind of massage along there, hold it there and release it. And then one more motion you can do is you can actually go up and down like this. Taking the arm through a range of motion, which helps to, like I said before, the forearm, kind of take the muscle through the range of motion of the ball. Beautiful. So now we're going to go over 2 strengthening exercises that Michael can do to help actually strengthen the tendons along the forearm to help withstand some of the forces that are happening as you go through your different tennis strokes. So this is a water bottle. It's probably 3 to 4 pounds. I wouldn't recommend going anything above 10 pounds as you might create more stress around the joint. But we're gonna show Michael one, it's called the eccentric strengthening exercise for the forearm muscles to help it actually thickens the tendon to withstand, again, the forces of excessive amounts of wrist extension and wrist rotation that occur during your backhand strokes. So Michael's gonna actually place this guy along the front of his, kind of resting his forearm on his knee. He's gonna drop the wrist all the way into flexion. And what he's gonna do is he's just gonna spend about 1 second going up like this, cocking the wrist, and then 3 seconds lowering. So 3, 2, 1, and that's 1 repetition. Boom, and then 3, 2, 1, 2 repetitions. He's gonna do 3 sets of 12 for that exercise. The 5th exercise I'm gonna show you today is actually just a postural exercise. Helps to kind of open up the shoulders, and we might reveal some asymmetry between the motion of each shoulder, which again, like I said, kind of shoulder health really helps to improve elbow health. So Michael's gonna come up along the wall and kind of have football poses like this, beautiful. So starting off with football arms. Arms are gonna be symmetrical like that, beautiful. And he's just gonna come all the way up, kind of reaching up against here, and you can notice that this elbow is kind of popping up a little bit more, which this is actually his dominant arm. So it's revealing he's got a little bit more asymmetry, a little bit more tightness in the front of his pec on this side. So everything we're gonna do today is gonna actually be helpful for his tennis game. And then come on down like that, beautiful. That's 1 repetition, you're doing great. Come on up again, 2 repetitions, good. And we're gonna do about 12 of those. So these are all really helpful exercises for, again, opening up the pecs, opening up the deltoids, taking pressure off of the forearm muscles, and then strengthening some of these different areas to help mitigate your discomfort and strengthen your game. So thanks for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you.